Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Florida Writers Book Expo. My name is Michael Farrell, and I am a director of the Florida Writers Association. FWA is an all-volunteer nonprofit group for all writers at all levels. We do writing conferences, workshops, webinars, podcasts, and events like this one. Thank you for joining us at the Florida Writers Book Expo, where we have 60 booths across genres with some amazing authors for you to meet. I'm joined by one of those wonderful authors, Marc O'Brien. Living in Las Vegas. So, I guess a brief bio about Marc O'Brien. Living in Las Vegas, O'Brien has put together a strong portfolio of fictional works that challenge the reader to interpret and learn from his writings. Brevard County's Blue Note Publications were the first to bring his thoughts to the public when they assisted the 1988 Barry University graduate through self-publishing Peter the Pediatric Panda's Playground, Peter the Pediatric Pandas and the Pandy Chip Pancakes, and A Special Person to Ride. Then, in 2018, Austin McCulley started to internationally distribute The Final Fence Sophomores in the Saddle, which is set primarily in South Florida. Today he resides in Cocoa Beach, Florida, where he continues to market his work while writing poetry and flash fiction. These short informative exercises can be seen on websites that include poetrysoup.com, Quilopia Literary Magazine, and the Writers Club Grey Thoughts. So let's get started. So first off, Marc, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as well. So I guess let's get started with how you got started in your writing journey. So what inspired you to start writing?
Well, as I said, I don't look at it as a journey. I look at writing as being an outlet where I was able to develop my skills, and a lot of it has to do with combating facing adversity. I do have a disability, and but so a lot of it in my younger days, in my childhood, in my teenage years, I used to have those daydreaming, conjuring of visions type of activity. And of course, that makes you pick up the pen and start to write your stories. So I would say that I started my writing back when I was grammar school, junior high, high school. But then, of course, you get the educations and you go to college, you get your degree in communication arts, you learn your journalism, you define your skills, you find out exactly where you want to take your writing to. And as I said, as you mature, as I actually sat down and started writing my books in Las Vegas in around 2005 ish or something. And Las Vegas was a great place to be able to collect thoughts and be able to develop the develop the time and the dedication to be able to live a nice social life along with being able to sit down for a long period of time behind the keyboard and write stories. So that's about it. I mean, I said it started, the writing interest started when I was very young, but as I said, it developed and it matured. That's the key word, is it matured as I started to get my education, as I started to hone my skills as a journalist, and uh, that's how I um, that's how I built on becoming a good writer and getting things published right away.
That sounds awesome, and I can kind of relate to the daydreaming thing. That's actually what got me into writing as well.
Well, I like to call it conjuring up visions, because a very important part is you can have those daydreams, you can have those visions, and one thing about writing is it's a nice outlet to get anger out, and that's what we need right now is to be able to show kids that there are outlets there that can make you let you express yourselves where you're not acting upon your visions and everything. So I like to use. I mean, it's a nice way to develop that creativity.
I totally agree with that. So you mentioned earlier talking about adversity. So how do you incorporate adversity into your latest book?
My latest book is The Final Fence: Sophomores in the Saddle. And it is a story about adversity because my main character, Eddie Patrick, he has two canes and he has two wristbands. And I compare facing adversity due to a situation that was beyond one's control with facing adversity due to one's actions, which in Eddie Patrick's situation, he self destructed by trying to commit suicide. So all through this tale, I use a college classroom, I use academia, and I use the athletic field, which is a 100 jumper show riding type competition. And I bring my characters together to show a very interesting portrait of growing up in the 1980s and how I actually faced adversity, and that was using by using both the classroom and also the athletic field at competition to be able to grow up and mature. But as I said, it's in my recent. That's about the recent book, The Final Fence: Sophomores in the Saddle. It is a very interesting read to where I want my reader to relax, sit back, and listen to my words and think about what I'm saying because I'm hoping it will guide someone down a path if they are facing adversity and figuring out what to do. And some of this is a very light, fluffy. It's a very fluffy type tale, and but it's also got a lot of meaning to it. So I hope I relax my audience, and then hopefully they'll walk away after they put the book down with a message of you can do this and you can face this adversity, confront it, and learn from it, and grow and mature and not self-destruct. Because that's the important thing about not self-destructing is you are you nothing is a problem until you self-destruct. So I'm hoping to be able to put on display self-destruction so someone else may see that, recognize it, and if they ever get faced with it, they will be able to be able to deal with it instead of actually self-destructing. So that's my goals: is to relax and allow my reader to reflect on my words and learn about the lesson of facing adversity because it is something that should be taught in schools. And the place it should be taught in schools would be through English language departments and being able to read the because every story has a conflict, which is adversity. So, and through classroom discussions, that's when the intervention steps in, and that's when you are able to get to a problem before it is a problem, and that is the key to the answer to the equation is getting into it before it happens, and you can do it through communications, and that is why books, literature, and other art forms are so important because the idea is to relax people, relax the audience, and then give them a message for them to go home with, and that's what's important.
And that sounds like really good. I can tell that you put a lot of meaning into your work and that you have a lot of strong, solid themes running throughout all of them. So, besides relaxing the readers, let's talk about you and your writing process. What's the most fun thing that to you? What's the most fun thing about writing?
The fun thing about writing is be able to one to conjure up the visions. I'm very lucky I have that skill to be able to have a really, let's just say, a really good movie going in my head that I can enjoy, and then to be able to put it on paper so others can enjoy is a wonderful gift to others. But the wonderful thing about writing is also you're able to state a message in different ways and be as creative as you can and be able to sit there and be able to plot along, make your twists and turns, open it up and close it up. And I think that's a good challenge. And that's what's fun is being able to open up a story, put some stuff into it, and then close it up in a really neat package. and sit back and say, "Wow, that's good stuff," and that's that it all works. And I put in a little bit. I have a little bit of metaphors or whatever into it, and you sit back and say, "Wow, that's good stuff." And that's what's fun about it, is like being able to also allow your reader to enjoy it and allow them to laugh and have a few, have a good discussion about it.
That sounds excellent. I love how passionately you talk about it. So, I guess on the other hand, what's the biggest challenge of being an author?
Biggest challenge of being an author is being able to handle the situation. Okay, an author lives in their own little world. You you have full control when you're behind the keyboard or the typewriter. In the old days, you have full control of the situation, and you can do whatever you want. And you can, take those pieces of paper and you can stuff them in your desk and everything, and no one can see them. The challenge is, you go out into society and you say, "Well, I did this. Isn't this great?" And well, it's only a story. It's only a book. But you know what? You did that. So, but the thing is, that is also another great achievement when you do become an author, because you can go in any other social situation and say, "I am an author." And you never say, "I'm out of work." You say, "I'm an author." And the thing is that, and that's what's important right now, is because that's important for a person, because that gives them a lot of self-esteem and a lot of independence. But of course, the people that are going to come around and challenge you, and they'll come around and say, "Wait, it's just a story. It's just a fictional story." But you make your points. And but the most difficult thing about being an author is, listen to your challenges. But then again, you walk away saying, "Well, I'm an author." And you are that strong, independent person. So that's a nice way to combat those challenges, or the stuff that you don't like about the author. But I would say it would be, whether it be the publishers or getting paid. My other form of advice is, don't worry about getting paid. If you do a piece for free, do it for free, because you can put, these days you can put it on the online, and you can get a really nice display, and you can have a really nice link to what you wrote and your message, and you can send it to someone else and say, "Well, I wrote that. That's my message." Um, and if you get caught up in money and getting paid, then you know what's going to happen. You're not going to get that message out. And who wins? The person over here saying, "Oh, it's just a story." So um, I think those are the things that I don't like about it. But there are frustrations there. But once again, if you have food in the refrigerator and you have money in the bank, always remember, don't get caught up in all the getting paid for a short story or a fast fiction piece. Look at those things and have the control of just getting it on a good display and having that link where you can send it to someone else and get your message across in a very peaceful way, which can get it interpreted and get good discussions. And that's my feelings on that. On having the critics and the bad side of being an author. But as I said, the good side is you're in full control of everything, and you learn to become a very independent person, and that is a very good skill to have.
Awesome. So, I guess so. You talked about, I guess, the best and worst parts of being an author. What about your personal favorite books? Could you tell us more about those?
Well, my main character in the Final Fantasy Southwards in the South, one of my characters is Eddie. It's Eddie Patton, but one of them is Peter King. He's derived from Peter Straub and Stephen King. There's two authors, and Peter King is the friend throughout the story and everything. That's how I look at the Peter Straubs and the Stephen Kings, is as when I was growing up in this junior high and everything, in high school, I did read horror and everything. And I read books like Nelson DeMille's Cathedral, and I read books like 2 Minute Warning and Black Sunday, which actually are fictional books that challenged the National Football League and everything back in the day. And the thing is, that's where I was. I mean, I grew up in the '80s. I grew up in post Vietnam, and that's the way we were. We were very, very action oriented from a reality standpoint. It's not like today with comic books and everything. So I was mostly involved in books that were very, very electric action and had a point, had a journalistic point.
Awesome. So there's plenty of inspirations that I can tell go into your work. So I guess let's talk more about your work. For example, how would you describe your voice in your writing?
My voice in my writing is very, very. It's derived from the journalism. It is derived from the. It makes points. I open things up. I make a point. And I close it up. I'm very, very realistic. All my stories are very realistic, and they all make points. I think my voice is very thoughtful, clear, concise, and making points.
Awesome. So, why do you think people will enjoy your latest book?
The reason why people enjoy my latest book with the Florida Writers Association or with the state of Florida, well, the Final Fence Sophomores in the Saddle is set in Florida at times. It is about my time with the South Florida Hunter Jumper Association and riding at South Marine Farms in Davie, Florida, and attending Barry University. Once again, fictionalize it also. I make my points without hurting anybody or make it more entertaining. So it is locally based in Florida. It is set in Florida, like a lot of my books. My children's book, The Peter Panda's Playground, is a very nice visual of my Barry University education, caring education, and it's really dedicated to the Barry University nurses that I graduated with in 1988. So I was college educated in the state of Florida. I come from New Jersey, but Florida was a good escape for me to get my higher education, and it's great to come back to it. But as I said, my works all revolve around my Barry University education and my equestrian background. So I hope that the Florida people in Florida will remember that when they read my books, because they're good visions of the state of Florida.
Awesome. Um, yeah. So definitely, like, I can see that you put a lot of effort into your work, and that there's a lot of inspirations for it, and that you definitely have a lot to give to others. So for other authors, what would you suggest to help with them with their writing processes?
I would say relax, be honest, and always go into things to make a point. Because when you start making points and you do it clear and concisely, that makes it journalistically interesting. And when it's journalistically interesting, it develops conversation. And when you develop the conversations, that makes the discussions. So that's I would say just be yourself, come up with your lead or the points you want to make, and roll with that, and use your creative visions and all the different type of story you want to do, and let the ball roll. A couple of sentences become a paragraph, a couple of paragraphs become a page, a couple of pages become a chapter, and when you have a bunch of chapters, you can send it off to a publisher and hope that they'll accept it and everything. And if not, just write all the chapters together and get all done, and you have a nice little story to tell your closest friends.
I like the way you mentioned the paragraphs and just like relaxing and going along with it. So, final question, because our time is almost up. What is next for you?
I would like to. My next steps are is to get my other stuff, my other Create Space works, all my self publishing works. I'm hoping to get them with Austin McCauley in the future. Right now in the pandemic, so London is closed. But hopefully, when all this mess is done, I'm going to have a really nice business relationship with them, and also develop. Keep writing short fiction, keep writing flash fiction to keep my day going, and use poetrysoup.com to my advantage, and other different short fiction that takes, the work where there's no payment, and I can have nice displays of my messages and keep that going as far as it goes, and hope that someone enjoys my message. And if someone wants to talk to me further about it, the media wants to talk to me about facing adversity, I'm more than open to being honest and doing interviews. But now it's time to do the interviews and to do the media and to keep writing short and fast fiction.
Awesome. So our time is pretty much up. So I want to thank you, Mark, for joining us. I really enjoyed talking to you today. And for those watching, be sure to stop by his booth at FloridaWritersBooks.com and check out his books. We'll also have more live interviews right here on Crowdcast, so you can check back later. And if you are interested in learning more about the Florida Writers Association, you can visit floridawriters.org. So thank you all and have a wonderful day.
You have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Goodbye, everyone.